No, it's funny because honestly, I was thinking about you the other night, and I just didn't want to say it because I didn't want to make you nervous. Because this casino is a place that may not open or is not going to open right away.
Right.
And nor are the gyms folks. Like I was thinking of all the businesses that even when we start to go back, is not going to be one of the first places. So I would say honestly, if you have another interest, I'm not telling you to go try to find another career, but I would be brushing up on that other interest or trying to figure out, can you, because I know that you're also teaching, can you teach dealing online? Is that something that you, what do you mean no?
Yeah. First of all, there's a lot out there online already, and so everybody be trying to get in that. But the other thing with me, which trying to start something new is my age.
Well, here's the best thing about online, I'm going to say, and ages and we're getting to going for the folks trying to get jobs out of the office. It's not going to matter online if you present yourself well and you know how to market it. It's going to be, you can speak about wisdom. You can speak about the years in the business and what you have to offer that others don't offer. And the casinos that you worked with and the type of people and events that you've done, no one else has that resume like you have that resume. So you have to use some of the older things and bring it back to the forefront that will excite people, because there's going to be a lot of everything online. You know, everything except for walk a dog, but you're going to virtually be able to walk a pet dog if you want the hassle of having one, you know? So it really is going to be about how you shift your talents to move on. Hope that helped. If not, call me later.
I'll call you later.
It's a family setup.
Leslie, I do have another question from, apologies if I pronounce your name wrong, Ethely, I think it is. Ethely asked, hold on, let me get to the question. I do apologize. I'll just let you answer the question. Sorry, Ethely, I unmuted your mic for you.
Thank you. Hi, Leslie.
Hello there.
So my question was in regards to your opening, in regards to the fact that everybody is kind of putting forth that coronavirus is the great equalizer. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on that, because I personally disagree. I think rather than it being the equalizer, I think it's actually highlighting a lot of the racial, socioeconomic disparities we currently have always had, continuing to have through this. And I feel like it's actually becoming more and more inflamed. So I just wanted your insight on that and what you're thinking.
That's funny, because that's what we're speaking about doing the next webinar about, but it's not the equalizer. I think in the beginning, everyone did that, but even in the beginning, it wasn't an equalizer. It was hitting the elderly, okay? Then it went from the elderly to some of the rich and wealthy. I mean, everyone else was in between, but that's kind of what you heard in the news. So even the way that it was positioned, it was never equalized. And then it was, if you're wealthy or a celebrity, then you can get a test. Then it was, okay, it's Asian people, be scared of them. So that didn't equalize the Asian community. Then it was Black and brown folks are dropping like flies, not equalizing it. Then it went to where we are now, the true disparities of this country that we have going on in healthcare, and assuming that people have homes that they can sit into, that they can go and work from home, or they had a computer enough for themselves, their husband, their kids in school, all of that type of thing. Then it was, again, mental health. Then we also have those that are being abused, children and adults. And then the whole thing about, I keep bringing about the Zoom backdrops that everyone just loves so much. That was also part of a savior. And they really, for children in school or high school kids that may not want their friends to see what their rooms look like or their homes to look like. So there's nothing equalizing about any of this. Who gets the $1,200 stimulus? I heard some people received it today. Now they pulled it back because, and this is not political, but Trump wants his name on it. You know, people that were furloughed got furloughed, and some people got fired or let go. I'm going to say let go. I'm not going to say fired. But someone that owns a business like myself, my own business, I didn't qualify for a small business loan or fund or anything else because I don't have employees. So there was nothing, and there's nothing equal about it. And the race, well, I'm gonna say that for next week, so you come back, because that's a whole nother conversation. From people scared to wear masks. Or actually, I'm not gonna say people scared to wear, Black men scared to wear masks. Let's call it what it is. And Chinese or Asians scared to open up their Chinese restaurants or stores because they're being attacked. Nothing equal about this. So where we have to find our equilibrium is within ourselves and in our center. That's the only thing that we will have.
Leslie, another
Yes.
question for you. It's a great answer. How do you navigate anxiety around job security, or anxiety around like pay cuts during this pandemic? And what advice do you have in regards to that?
Prayer. No, seriously. Woof. This is what I do. And this is, I'm going to tell you what I've done, and hopefully that will also help. I don't get too far ahead of myself. And when I say that, I know because we don't know how many months out this is going to be. So I can't, in my big picture, I go, this is how much money I know I can get to this month, these months. But the reality, I go, I can't think about that because I'm gonna have agita all day long. I'm never gonna be able to sleep. So what do I need to take care of now? And I ask people not to get too hung up on, I'll pay that later, because you are eventually going to have to pay that. Pay as little as you can to keep things moving. The anxiety is going to be that I know that something else is going to happen. I'm going to come out of this. As a small business owner, yes, if I don't kill it, I hate to put it that way, if I don't kill it, I don't eat it. So it is nonstop, always me thinking about money. Now, I'm also very frugal. I'm just going to say frugal, as much as I love all my things. I see some chuckles there because some of the people that know me know I have no problem downloading a Stop and Shop app and looking to see what's on sale. So when I go to the supermarket, I know what's on sale and things that I can get. Same as Family Dollar, Clorox, whatever that is. And so I kind of plan ahead on those types of things. And if you have a car right now, check to see if your car insurance is giving back money for the 2 months. A lot of car insurances are doing that. So there's a lot of little things that you can do that you can still feel like, ooh, I saved $5 or I saved $20. We're going to have anxiety on money because we don't know, but you can't let it eat you. You just have to say, this is what I can do today with it. And I'm going to be good. And know you're not alone. That's any consolation right now.
One more question I have for you as well. And again, don't let me just ask all the questions, everyone. You definitely have questions. Just message it in there, and you can private message me, and I'll send them on to Leslie. But another question I have is, how do you prioritize what's important during this time frame, being in part because life seems like it's standing still. So how do you prioritize what needs to be worked on, an hour from now, a day from now, a week from now, or a month from now? Any advice surrounding that? So
I always go, where did you stop? And I hate to say the world didn't stop. We paused, as they like to say. So where did you stop? So was there something that was not so much a deadline? If it was a work deadline and you're still working, cool, you still have to get that done. If you are home and you are furloughed or you haven't been working, or like myself, we're just your own business, so there's new business is not rolling in. I say to you have to prioritize what you feel like doing. So if you feel like reading, or you want to read. If you've been thinking about taking that art class and that's what you want to do, sign up for it. Today I'm going to sign up for it, and I have it on my schedule to do it next week. So there isn't one thing. I just say make sure you're doing something if you're in the mindset that you want to do something. Plan it. We're going to still be here 2 weeks from now. So it's okay to don't say, oh, well, they're going to flip that switch and we're leaving. So I don't need to think about how I'm going to prioritize. For myself, I have the book that I'm writing. I knew it had to be done in May, regardless. Whether this happened or not, I knew my deadline. So I make sure that I work on that. But in the meantime, I've made sure I've worked on some other projects as well that I've been wanting to do. And again, if I'm not in the mood to do it at that moment, guess what? It can shift to something else. I'm good. So I want to say the pressure to execute at this time, you've got to breathe a bit at this moment, because even when they hit the switch and we slowly start to go out, we are never going to be the same as when we paused. The world is not the same from when we paused. So it's about finding the small joys in everyday life. Light a candle, twirl and dance. I mean, and I say that because anyone that knows me knows I'm forever twirling. So I twirl in here. I'm gonna put my gospel music on. I started shadow boxing the other day. That was priority, to set up my little gym, to clean up my bookshelf, to sit down and watch Netflix. That was priority one day. I have the chat open. I'm gonna open the chat. Like I said, this new normal is not a new normal. It is, yes.
Looks like we got another question that just came in as well too, from Janae. I'll let her ask the question as well. So I'll unmute your mic, Janae.
Hi, Leslie. Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Now,
Hi. My question is, so about moving, what are your thoughts about that? Because my lease is up this month, so I'm currently apartment hunting, and it's stressful and annoying. And I mean, I don't necessarily want to like stay where I am, but I feel like I might have to. So I've just been like, I don't know, reading a bunch, but nothing's really helpful on this topic. And I'm not able to really see anything in person, you know.
have you spoken to your landlord?
So they are not, I guess like our lease would just go month to month after this is all over. But like I said, I guess it's just me personally, like I I've been ready to move out of this apartment. I knew that it was coming, and I knew that I was going to have to move. So I've just been preparing for it. So now I'm like ready to go, you know, but like it's just it's weird. It's weird right now, of course.
So the reality is, though you're ready to go, where are you going? And are you going to put yourself in danger trying to get somewhere new? One, nothing personal against anyone. Do you really want to go look inside of people's apartments right now?
Yeah, not really.
Or on a corner and go into apartments? Do you want anyone coming in yours looking to rent your space?
Definitely not.
Right. So you have to settle on the fact of, if I can go month to month, then you're in a great position. Go month to month until we are settled, till you are settled in your spirit. Because I know that you are willing to walk into another place and say that's it. Because if you look on that 9 now and jump it, you're also asking the moving people or friends to put themselves in danger to help you move when you don't have to at this moment.
Mhm.
I understand the fact of wanting to do it. I had a huge gig and was signing the contract when they called and said, pause. I was like, well, my presentation's ready. I'm ready to go. Pause. And I was just like, okay, it's going to happen. I just don't know when. I'm going to put that out of my mind. And I would say only pack certain things, maybe pack a few things or put it away so you get that feeling, but that you don't want to sit in a bunch of boxes and things either around you, because that's much more anxious. So, just know that it's going to happen. And it's okay not to know exactly when. I know that's the worst for people like you and I, because we need to know everything. Well, guess what? None of us know anything. The only person I'm listening to is Dr. whatever my man's friend name is. I love him. But other than that, we don't know. So just know it's happening and be okay with just knowing that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm reading in. So let's talk about, do you feel the pressure to be doing something? many of you feel that pressure? That you should be writing, that you should be learning a new skill, that you should be looking for a job, that you should be whatever, learn, writing the next play. So then what do you, in that moment, then how are you getting around that? That's what I would like to know. If you could share your thoughts of either some of the things you have done or some of the things you said you're going to do and just decided it's not going to happen. Anyone? No.
Ethel actually chimed in again, and she could share, so I'm gonna unmute her mic now.
Perfect.
Thanks. I mean, yes, I felt a lot of pressure in the beginning, especially because I was kind of in the first wave of of my schedule changing, being furloughed before everybody else was, and then being completely like laid off. So I felt a lot of pressure in the beginning because that's what everybody was kind of telling us, especially in the beginning, like take this time, do this, do that. Like, so it was very overwhelming initially. And meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my rent with no income coming in right now. But everybody's telling me I need to write the next big novel. So what I actually started doing after, moments of severe anxiety was just kind of focusing on what do I want to do? What career goals do I have next? And just kind of taking it on a step-by-step basis. And actually, my friend Kate is on this, and she's actually been helping me with the career guidance. Thanks, Kate. And so she and I have like a session every like 7 to 10 days, and that's helpful. So I feel like I'm moving forward. But also, this sounds so silly, but sometimes I just have my notebook with a list of things I'm going to do. Maybe like yesterday, I made Alfredo from scratch. Like, and it sounds so silly and stupid, but it's like little things like fun things to do in the midst of like real things that I have to do and just scratching off the list. And some days I scratch all of them off, and some days I scratch 2 off, and then I binge watch something on Netflix. And I just made my peace with that it's a day-to-day like process for me, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And thank you. I wanted to check. Thank you. That's so true. It is day to day. And then I saw what's happening in the chat that yes, those that are working, for some reason, companies feel like there's no hours. That contract that said 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and we know that doesn't really exist anyway. But they're pinging people and emailing people and calling people, and they're expecting you because you're home that you're supposed to answer when you're supposed to answer, and that there's the disregard for the fact of you may have your entire family at home. So your mother, father, school teacher, math teacher, art teacher, singing teacher, sports teacher, you're whatever executive you are, all those other things. And then the single person that may be your boss is like, but I don't understand why you can't, why you can't do this. And yes, and with the reduced salary, and maybe or maybe not half of your benefits right now, yet you are supposed to be on the call. So at what point, because I see this happen, if some of you that are working, that this is happening, and we don't need to say companies, can you share with others how you're maneuvering that? Or have you been able to say, I understand this is important and I will get it executed, but from, I don't know, from 5 to 7, I'm offline? Is that possible to do? Maybe that's why I don't work in an office. I don't know. But anyone want to jump in on that? Nancy?
Actually, Leslie, I have something. Sorry, I mean, there's so many questions coming in. My first time moderating an actual online chat, so please, I love everyone's patience. So here's the first question that I have for you, Leslie. Any advice on how to handle judgment surrounding, people's feelings about what we should or should not be doing during this time frame? Hold on, second question I'm gonna do as well too, and I'm gonna try something here where there's a few questions that came in. I'm gonna unmute the 4 or 5 people that asked me those questions, so you could do it. So just give me a second. And then the second question is, what advice do you have surrounding availabilities to others, basically? since we're all working from home, it's like, oh, this person should be available. They should be able to take my call, or they should be able to do X, Y, and Z. Like, what advice do you have surrounding how to handle being available to others?
You gonna make me
Well,
tell my secrets?
say what? What did you say?
I said you're gonna make me tell my secrets on that one.
Yeah. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open up the chat to Melissa because she has a question. I'm going to open up the chat to Alex as well, too. He has a question. And I'm going to try something new to see whether a few of us can have a conversation all at one time without it getting too out of hand. So, yeah, if you could proceed on answering those questions. And Dee as well, too. I unmuted your microphone as well.
Okay. Hi there.
So the pressure on what other people feel that you should be doing. Listen, I had a moment of that as well, and I'm going to say I had a moment because I was the one I felt putting pressure on people, because in my head, I get up, I have my schedule, I'm ready to go. Why isn't everybody else ready to go? Well, the reality is everybody's in a different spot at a different time in a different place. And it's that whole thing that says no is a complete sentence. Well, no is a complete sentence. Thank you for sharing with me. I'll think about doing that. That's great. That works for you. That's not working for me at this moment. It's about you set your boundaries, whether it's with a boss or work at this point, or what you want to take from everyone. And maybe there's certain days you can't speak to everyone. And that's okay too. It doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means that energy on that day, on how what they want you to do, or what they want to put the pressure on, or the pressure you may put on someone else, shouldn't be happening. And so I say respect that. What was it? You can't ask me more than 4 questions. You don't get no.
Like I was saying, I was speaking to one of the other young ladies, and just like we were saying, the point of being in the workplace and they ask you to do a lot of work. See, me, I'm out of the box, so I'm a no type of person and kind of log off, log out. But at work, I also try to motivate the other staff. It's only 24 hours in a day, and your pay period is 8 hours. So at one point, you have to either log out, write a message, hey, I didn't get to that. I'll get to that tomorrow. You have to be able to balance.
Communication is key. Even when we're all together and we're going into an office every day. Hey, just want to give you a quick update. I will execute. This is where I've gotten. I'll get the other half tomorrow. Thanks. Have a great night. Speak to you tomorrow. That's it.
You'll have a nervous breakdown trying to do it. Like one of my coworkers, I sometimes I check on people and say, how you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to balance this whole take care of your kids and try to tell her what.
Yeah. So you have to figure, here's what I'm going to do at this point. Here's what I'm going to do at this point. And know that those 2 points may never actually match, because the reality is you don't know what's going to happen that day. So because you have to understand, your bosses are either sitting at home doing the same thing. And again, I always laugh and said to one, just because you don't feel like speaking to your wife and kids, you can't talk to me every 20 minutes. I'm not here for your relief on that. So it really is setting those boundaries as much as you can. I'm going to at 8 o'clock I log off. So on the question of when people are calling you and you they're thinking you're there, I have someone that loves to call me after 9 o'clock. Well, if you know me, you know for a fact that unless we're working on a project or there's an emergency or I'm no longer on chaplain call, I'm not answering the phone at 9 o'clock. I'm not really answering the phone after 8 o'clock. My family knows that. I'm not chatting. My mind is shut down. My spirit is shut down. I'm rejuvenating for the next day on where I want to do and what I want to be. I'm not having a conversation with you during a crisis or not. So you can text 10 times if you want, but if you want me to text you at 2 o'clock when I'm up again, or 5 o'clock when I'm up again, I've done that a few times and I bet you they stop there. Hello, Miss Melissa.
Hi.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm good. My question's kind of it's a little off, not as related to what we're just talking about, but the news is super crazy as always. And I find it hard. What do I listen to? Like, is it true? Can I go out with a mask, no mask? Because I see so many different people, some people are wearing gloves, some people are wearing masks, some people aren't wearing, how do you know what do I take to heart and believe in? I know, like my grandfather, he just doesn't give a shit about anything. And he's like, I'm going to go out without a mask on, but I'm going to wear, menthol on my head because I heard it warned off that, the virus from like years ago. And I'm like, you can't do that. So it's like, how do you respect people's boundaries, but still look out for them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think probably most of us on this call probably had someone that's older that you're like, come on now. Like, let's get it together. Put the mask on. And I don't know if my dad's on the call, because some people are calling in, like, put the mask on. Please wear gloves. Please take your hand sanitizer. I always say lead by example as well. But one of the things I finally had to say to my aunt, I can't come help you. If you get sick, you're on your own. I can't. This is one time I can't be a savior. So I really need you to take care of yourself and to be there for us. So please put your mask on, get some gloves. Do you have them? Like, it's almost like speaking to someone. Do you have, and just do that. There's tons of people now. So I'm a news junkie. I love watching the news. I can't watch the news the way that I did. I watch part of MSNBC. I watch part of the governor because I feel like he gives facts. And Dr. Fucci, whatever my man's name is, if it's not Dr. Fucci doesn't tell me to put a tin hat on, I'm not listening to everybody else. They're not doctors. So it is that. So the mandate now, starting Saturday, is that everyone must wear a face covering going out, regardless, wherever you go. That is a mandate for New York at this moment. So I don't know why it's so difficult. Put the mask on. Put the gloves on. And really, you have to have honest conversation with them, just saying, I can't help you if something happens. All of a sudden, my aunt made a face mask.
Give away too much information on our next discussion in regards to
I'm gonna leave that alone.
face masks in public. Just in the effort of time as well too. I know Alex wanted to chime in as well, so I've unmuted your mic, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Leslie. It seems a little past at this point in time. I was just going to go back to your points about, or everybody's points about, what to do and how to organize their day. And for me, I think this is just a great time to ask yourselves the question, or to make a promise to yourself that you're not going to come out of this without some kind of an improvement of some kind of a skill set, or a clean house, or shredded, like something. So if you do take a little pressure off yourself in terms of finding, I got to be doing this, or I've got to be up by a certain time every day. As you said, there is no normal to that. But what is universally, or should be universally focused on, I think, is, listen, we're at home for either a month or 2 months or however long this is going to be. It would be a shame to come out of it without having done something for yourself in that, and all the different ways that means. I think, for one example, we're all much better on telecommuting and getting in front of platforms like WebEx or Zoom. So we've all learned how to do something better with our appearances or our backgrounds. I'm not speaking for myself today because I'm sitting in front of a window, which I know is like a big no-no, but I don't have a fake bookshelf behind me or a jail cell behind me either. So, I'm doing something there. But so that challenge to yourselves is really important, because if you're used to going someplace Monday through Friday, you've got that routine. And if you're being told what that routine is, because you're paid for that routine, and then you have your weekend routine, when that blows up, it can be very difficult, if nobody's telling you a routine, to figure out a routine on your own. So I love what you said about that routine. Could just be, it's Netflix Tuesday, whatever. And it's paper shredding Wednesday, or whatever that is. But you gotta define something. I'm like you. Like, I'm normally up at 5:30 in the morning. I have my journal in the morning. I have a very set routine that I have done, and it's all done by, let's say, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. But all of this has blown that up. I still have a routine. I just don't get up at 5:30 in the morning. 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. But I try to keep that same pace. So I think we're humans. We love routine, even if we hate routine, meaning commuting into an office every single day. But now that we don't have it, were a little bit lost. So I would just encourage, from personal experience, to make
It's a great time to be selfish.
make a challenge yourself. Come out of this better than you went into it, just with your own whatever it is, taking classes online or whatever. So that was like 15 questions ago, but
No, thank you for that. I see Ernie is studying for certification. I did two certifications on Saturday that I needed to do, which would have taken me forever because I just would have like, oh, do I need to do this? And Saturday morning, I was like, I'm gonna just bang this out right now. I'm gonna bang it out, email it to where it needs to go and be done. But I was like, yeah, I did those two certifications, so that's great. Oh, and you're studying Japanese? Okay, goshi desu ka? No, good for you, Ernie.
Just want to add to that, Leslie, and again, just being a steward of our time here as well, too. It looks like we have about 15 minutes to go here to the top of the hour. But one thing I definitely wanted to do and to try to switch this up, because Leslie and I have been talking over the past couple of weeks about like webinars and whether people are tired of these things or whether they were whether they're still effective as they were 6 months ago. So one thing both Leslie and I want to make sure that there's a goal here that we have, that everyone takes away something from this webinar, as well as being able to connect amongst one another as well too. So what I want to do now, very quickly, like 3 minutes, in the chat, just put your name or what you do, or something that you're wanting to get out, or something that you need help with. So someone else in this chat could possibly help you with it or have a connection that they could share with you as well too. So if everyone does that, takes 3 minutes now. It's 47 after, so until 50, we'll get that. You can probably add to that too as well, Leslie.
Yeah, if you just want to put even just your IG or your LinkedIn, if you wanted to connect with someone that said something or follow through, that's what this is about. Look, the best thing, and I'm going to speak while you kind of do that. So I think one of the best things about the virtual happy hours and webinars is the fact that you're connecting with people that you may have never met before or seen, or the whole, oh, I need to introduce you to this person, or you should connect with that person, and it doesn't really happen. This gives you the opportunity to just go in and start meeting people. I know Amanda wanted to add something.
I did. How know that?
Because I'm looking at the chat. I'm trying to do double duty here. Amanda, can you hear me?
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, my question was, it reminded me when you were saying like the news is kind of crazy and you're watching a little bit of this and a little bit of that and the governor and trying to figure out who you trust, to report on all of this stuff. And that really resonated with me because I find myself unable to watch the news, like from, even the trusted sources, the same people that you mentioned. I just feel like it's making me crazy. And then kind of the next layer of that is family members and friends who are obsessively consuming, so much news, and it's making them crazy. And every time I talk to them, it's like, this obsession with, the politics of it. And I was laughing, Leslie, when you said earlier on that, Trump wants his name on the check, and you didn't want to make it political because we're so afraid of being political. But like,
I just don't feel like speaking about the man right now. Just give me my check if you're gonna send it to me. I don't care what
I'm totally with you. I'm just laughing about the fact that like, the politics are a real thing, but there's also such thing as going crazy, obsessing over how horrific the political situation is. And I feel like it's really taking us into a darker place than we're already in. So I'm trying to resist even watching some of the stuff that I think would make me better informed, but because it's making me crazy.
Right. And so pick and choose 10 minutes, or who do you know that does a recap at the end of the day? I will look at the newspapers online quickly at the end of the day, not too far when I'm in bed. I'm just going to truly do a quick recap of things. And that's it, because we can get consumed. And I have friends in China and they're calling, they're WhatsApping me, telling me what's happening there. Then I'm speaking to friends in France and I'm hearing what's happening there, which is great because I'm almost getting what's happening there is going to eventually happen here, so I can start prepping and preparing. But to hear the vicious cycle here of news breaking, news breaking, news breaking, I wanted to start giving them the definition of news breaking. Everything that happens is not a breaking news, you know. And then I am on calls for the, you know, I always say I was lucky enough to be on the calls for the mayor's office, then I'm on the calls for the state office, then I'm on the call for the faith community. I have to get off of some of those as well. You know, it's less the topic I see is going to be something that I can share with others, you know, and I say it about death and dying and burials, you know, people calling me. And so, yes, I want to have that type of information, or if I can help with certain information and I jump on those so I can share it. But otherwise, we will lose our mind going down that black hole. So, yes.
I apologize. We have a second Amanda on the line that has a question. So I'll unmute her now.
No worries.
I think I stole your question, Amanda. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's no problem at all. That's okay. We're all here to share some info. So I just wanted to chime in with Lady Leslie about a couple of things. I mean, well, first of all, I had that webinar burnout myself, you know, between, you know, reconnecting with old business partners to dealing with current clients to wanting to learn something new. I know that it's a lot, you know, and, you know, I just wanted to mention that, you know, be kind to yourself. You know, knowing that you're not able to get into any and everything. But I also wanted to just mention something that has been helpful for me, you know, and something that maybe that could help for those that are working at home as well. You know, I was going to suggest maybe speaking with your manager about your particular hours, and also maybe sharing a calendar. I don't know if that's available for you, but being that you're at home and not able to do, you know, what you would normally do at work, maybe talking with them so that you can block out certain times of the day to be able to be with your kids or family or a lunch break or something like that. You know, and then for people who are small businesses working at home and things like that, it's also equally important to block out time in the day just for you, you know, have set hours so that people won't, you know, infringe on those hours that are meant for you and your family. I know that I had to do that myself and say, okay, you know what, from 12 to 1, I'm going to meditate or take lunch or breathe so that I'm fresh for that next meeting, for that next webinar, or whatever it is that we're doing. And also, I totally agree with Leslie too. You know, in the morning, block out that morning. Know that you're only available from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever those hours are for yourself. And block out time when you need it. You know, that's what I've been suggesting and what I've been doing myself. And if I'm able to share a personal calendar so people know when I'm on and offline, that has actually helped me take my time back.
And here's two other things. Thank you, Amanda, because that actually says to me something we didn't really speak about quickly, and that's your space. And that's your surroundings. So I have an office because I work from home, so I have a full office. But now that we're in here 7 days a week, I've also been able to move my office a little bit around. But again, I live by myself, so I can do that. If you want to set up a space that's your office space, and that's the only place in your apartment or your home that you're going to sit and do work. Otherwise, you get up and be able to live in your apartment, because otherwise the walls start closing in. So take that time to also, I'm going to use this word very loosely. I'm not going to say redecorate, rearrange, take a picture over there, put it over there, make it look a little bit different, just to give it some breath. Light a candle or incense when you would only maybe do that on the weekend. Just do little things to make yourself that much more peaceful in the midst of this.
Leslie?
Yes.
We have one final question from Ken because they're running up on the hour. So again, want to be stewards of everyone's time here. So Ken, I've unmuted your mic. You can ask your question.
How you doing, Leslie?
Good, thanks.
How's everything? I've seen her also.
Hey. Hi.
All right, so yeah, my question. So I'm a sales manager in auto sales, and we also, my wife and I have a side business where we do home furniture and organizing. So the question is, people are starting to pivot because a letter did go out yesterday. The organization I work for is the Saluppi Group, who owns 17 dealerships across Long Island. He sent a letter out yesterday saying 50% of the workforce, including managers, salespeople, service, parts, you no longer have a job. It's when we open the economy. Being said, they're not going to bring 100% people back. So I'm wondering how people are deciding to pivot. I mean, a week ago, I decided it's time to pivot. I started a 75-hour workforce online for real estate agent because I happen to be good at sales and I'm able to sell myself. So I'm wondering how people are deciding, if they are deciding how they're going to pivot in their work-related life because of what's going on right now when the economy really does open, not May 1st like people are saying on the news, but when it really does open again.
No, look, I have to pivot. I think we all have to pivot, and I'd love to hear if there's anyone else. I heard Edith say that, she's speaking with other, she has a colleague or has a friend, and they're bouncing ideas off each other, like what can be the next career move or what else can we learn? I now have to do this virtually. This would have been something I would have invited everyone to come to a space and, let's have a talk on this or that. But now I have to do it online. So that also means now I am pitching my business online, having courses on diversity and inclusion, working with companies to do some trainings online. Again, before we even get back, before we open, I have to shift now because I can't jump back in and go and speak about diversity and inclusion. And somebody's like, do you not know that I just had an uncle that just passed and I had no money from the last 3 months and my kids and this? We have to deal with all of this before we can ever begin to pivot. So being able to pivot at this moment, I'm also going to say is a privilege that those of us that can pivot have. So if you have that and you're thinking about it, it comes back to what brings you, oh God, I sound like this woman. What brings you joy? But what do you want to do? What can you take your present skills and how can you put them in another field? Sales, real estate, cars, all of that makes sense. So, or like Ernie said, I'm taking certificates that will help me boost my resume. So even if I'm going for the same career lane, I'll have more credentials on that. So I think that's the pivot of building on what you have.
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Is there, how are we doing on time? Let's talk about, so I know that we want to do the series. Are we going to talk about next week's?
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
Series, I really want to focus on wearing face masks. What is race as the equalizer? Whether it's Asian, whether it's African American, whether it's people of color, what are the disparities in this virus? And how are we going to come back from that? Because everyone doesn't have a summer home or weekend home that they were able to leave the city with. How are we going to step back in and have somebody tell us what we can or cannot do, not understanding what we've just set through as people of color or Black folks in the midst of this virus where people cannot walk into stores with masks, all types of other situations that's happening. I want to just have a real conversation on what diversity and inclusion looks like in a pandemic. Did I give too much away?
I think that was good. Again, I'm excited about our next discussion next week. And again, thank everyone for joining us as well. And I just shared the Village Collective's LinkedIn page as well as Leslie's LinkedIn page. So definitely advise everyone that's on the call, definitely follow those 2 pages to stay up to date on our future topics and discussions. And again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.